Good morning, this is Quinlan. I'm here at Mount Haku, one of the 3 sacred mountains of Japan. The other ones are, of course, Mount Fuji and lesser known, perhaps, Mount Tate. And I'm here as part of this really interesting project that I'm going to tell you all about in this video. This is our group. Got about 30 people. We're going to go up and watch the sunrise tomorrow morning after spending the night in the lodge. And we have an opera singer with us, believe it or not, who's going to sing at the sunrise while we're there.
Buongiorno! Ci divertiamo?
Okay, let's get going and I'll talk to you along the way. There are 3 main approaches to Mount Haku, and these are actually ancient pilgrimage routes. Until the Meiji Restoration, the only people hiking this were pilgrims, both Buddhist and sort of the Shugenja, as they're called, the Yamabushi, these mountain ascetics. The original trails that led up were called Zenjodo, and they were, pilgrimage routes, basically. Are you tired of watching me go up steep slopes yet? Then imagine how I feel doing it. Twice for each time you watched it, at least. But no, I don't mind, I'm kidding. It's fine, it's all part of the fun. Just look at this. So before everything else, let me just tell you what I am doing here so far from Morioka and Mount Iwate. And that is that I've been invited to film and introduce a project that is called the Haku-no-mai. It's a 4-day event in which they do a number of meetings discussing sort of sustainable ways of living and really interesting sort of new types of modern Japanese philosophy and faith, as well as a performance of Japanese no, that's N-O-H, no, as in one of the traditional types of theater along with kabuki, but it's done as a devotional act to this mountain behind me here, Mount Hakusan, one of those 3 sacred mountains. And we're going up to the summit as an act in a way of devotion and respect towards this sacred mountain. And on the summit, we will, during sunrise tomorrow morning, have an opera singer sing in devotion to the mountain. And then after we get back down, the Japanese Sumo Association has sent a representative who will perform the Yumi Torishiki. Now, let me get into a little bit of what makes Mount Haku so very special and so very sacred. Well, first is that it is a source of water for the surrounding areas. There are at least 3 major rivers that flow from Mount Haku onto the surrounding areas. And so back before Buddhism came to Japan, it was considered the realm of a dragon god, a water god. Everyone looks back to a date about 1300 years ago. That is in 717, when a Buddhist monk named Taicho first hiked this mountain and established it as a place of pilgrimage and worship. Let's keep going. I'll talk to you when we get a little bit higher. I seem to have just hit another new type of trail. So you can see this interesting stones laid out with wood. I love it when the landscape changes, and this cloud rolling in behind me is just epic. Give me a little bit of protection from the sun. I don't mind the view being a bit covered up for a while. I love the diversity on this trail. Went from scrambling on rocks and going through the forest and the ridge walk to now walking on nice wooden planks. A regular boardwalk here. And looks like we've arrived at the lodge, pretty much. And wow, they weren't kidding when they said it was a pretty big building. Look at this. It's like a whole complex. Wow, this place is huge. And out the other side, and look at this. There is a shrine. I don't think I can film inside, but outside should be okay. This is the Hakusan-Okumiya Shrine. According to the map, it's roughly 40 minutes, I believe, from here up to the summit, which is right up there. Ooh. And here we are. There used to be a temple up here housing Buddhist statues. Now it's all Shinto. Now, the numerous summits of Hakusan have different names. The one that I'm almost at right here is called Gozen Gamine. And that is the highest one, the one at 2,702 meters. Here I am, and dang. I just can't get over this view. I mean, this is really, really not bad. Of the mountains I've hiked, this is one of the nicer summit areas. So this is that other summit, Onajimine, or Onajigamine, not sure which. Up here at 2,684 meters, not bad. Look at this. This is a shrine now, but of course it used to be a temple. And in fact, you can see the broken remains of Buddhist statues. These Buddhist carvings have been smashed and destroyed in the early 1870s when there was that movement against Buddhism. This is the remains. I find this history of the Haibutsu Kishaku, that suppression of Buddhism around the early 1870s, really sad and fascinating. There were tens of thousands of temples that were destroyed, and countless statues and artifacts were lost. Plus the tradition of the Yamabushi, those Buddhist monks that were sort of syncretism of Buddhism and Shinto, who would be hiking all of the mountains. I mean, they still exist, but the tradition was massive before. There were thousands and thousands of them, and now their numbers are few, and the tradition is restored but broken. It's not a continuous link, as they were disallowed for a while, absolutely banned. The Yamabushi were banned, and then they sort of were allowed back in later. from the summit up there, all the way back down into the rocky valley. Looks like I'm almost back to the lodge where we're spending the night. Well, I made it back to the lodge after going up and around, and it looks like I did just not too far. It was about 9.5 kilometers today, and about 1,600 meters of gain. That's some furious ascent, and I've got a tap beer. How about that? This place is pretty sweet. I just had to be part of a panel talking about Buddhism, Shinto, Yamabushi, and the mountain faith for the last hour. It was, fun to talk in front of a bunch of people about that, but it's always makes me a little nervous to speak in Japanese in front of an all-Japanese audience, because I know that I make grammatical mistakes here and there. This lake you can see here, this lake is called Midorigaike, and it was here that Taicho, that Buddhist monk climbing 1,300 years ago, saw a 9-headed dragon rising out of the waters. Through his meditation, through his discipline, it transformed into the 11-headed Kannon Bosatsu, which is a Buddhist bodhisattva deity, because originally he was seeing the Shinto gods, but he was a Buddhist monk, and so through his discipline, he rather saw the Buddhist aspect of it. I may start meditating more on top of mountains. I'd really like to see a 9-headed dragon rising out of a lake. Would you like to come and spend 4 days in a remote area of Ishikawa Prefecture with a whole bunch of Japanese people learning about the mountain faith, and then after watching a no performance, hiking up this mountain, spending a night at a really cush lodge? They've got really clean bathrooms, hearing opera at sunrise and coming down. If you can, I've got the details and a link all in the description of the video, but he actually wants foreign participants. It's really interesting to meet, I don't know if spiritual is the right word, but a really deep thinking, sustainably minded community of people in Japan. I don't want to make too many generalizations, but you don't often meet that many people who are thinking about the way that ancient spiritual traditions of mountain worship can connect to the modern world and what it means to them in their life. It's all rather rare stuff that you don't encounter, or I don't encounter much in Japan. And so it's been neat to meet a whole bunch of really interesting people. And so you could join and meet these people too if you came and participated in this event next year in 2025 or in any year beyond. That's enough talking for now. I'll see you again at sunset. I'm going to go have another beer and dinner. Well, it's a little before 4 in the morning. Sunrise isn't until 5:10, 5:15 today. And we are going to head up to the summit. Well, it's getting a little brighter, and it's still misting out, sort of spitting, raining just slightly. Probably another 25 minutes until the sunrise. Can you imagine 1,300 years ago, that Buddhist monk Taicho going up through the forests, past waterfalls, over ridge lines, until he finally got to this burned out crater with little caldera lakes? It really must have looked like another world to him. I can see why he saw a 9-headed dragon arising out of the center here. It's definitely another world. Unfortunately, we're lost in the clouds, and so it doesn't look like we're going to get any real view of the sunrise, but it's still nice to be up here, in the mists and the clouds, lost in another world. I think that's the closest I've ever been to an opera performance. And wow, at 2,700 meters, not bad, huh? Well, it's 7 a.m., and so that means it's time for us to start heading back down the mountain. It's gonna rain a lot today, and so we're leaving a little bit earlier than planned. Well, I'm gonna leave you here and head down with everyone else, and as usual, try and be thoughtful, or maybe without any thoughts, on my way back down this sacred mountain. I hope that you found this interesting, and maybe that you even want to come and meet some of these extraordinary people that participate in this Satoyama Kaigi event of Hono-sai, dedicating all of these different events to the sacred mountain of Mount Haku every year. It really is a bunch of really fascinating, unusual, eccentric in the best possible way type people that you wouldn't meet probably very easily any other way. So all the details for how to participate in the event are in the description. I hope that you come. If not, I hope you found it fun to go and check out the gorgeous summit area of Mount Haku and learn a little bit about that history. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the trails.